Alright, so here's another example of the conveyor going back and forth without any speed controls. So this is basically just the forward and reverse. And to get there, what I did is I took this just standard scene and I came into drivers and mapped. Actually, first off, let's go ahead and talk about this a little bit more. I put a diffuse photo eye right here. Okay, so it's going to be basically made until the point where it's not made, and this is still the actual let me get this out of the way so you can see it. This is still the photo eye that uses the reflector. So this is diffused. Keep in mind it does not need a reflector when it's diffused, and when the other one is actual, like I said, photo eye that needs a reflector to actually get its 1 or 0 command or 1 or 0 transition. When it comes down to it though, what I did to do this and change it from the speed command is I basically went into, let me cut the scene off real quick just to show you. So let's stop this, and then you right click on that, and then you would go to configuration. Instead of analog, you change it to 0 or the digital plus minus, and that gives you the ability to come over here to your drivers, and in drivers you can configure your drivers. And in this case I had to add another bool for my outputs, and I took out my actual speed command. So then I came back in over here and then put my forward and reverse sensors in there, or my back sensor and my front sensor like I had before, but I also put my roller command forward and roller command reverse in there. So now it's coil driven. Basically you have a coil going off and on, a coil going forward, and then a coil for backwards for the commands. Now with that said, that keeps everything in a binary 1 or 0 state without any speed controls, no analog, nothing of that nature. So with that said, you have to keep the controls very simple. So I have a start button, which will start in the forward command always. And with that said, as long as the back sensor, which is over here, the back sensor is made or not made, it will allow that to seal in. When it seals in, basically it runs forward, and then with that said, once it makes that sensor, that back sensor, it comes over here and then turns the it turns off the forward because the back sensor is going to be made right here, and then turns on the backwards command, which latches in the backwards command with a seal in circuit, and again using the stop button, and then the front sensor then will drop that out, which is the front sensor is the sensor right here. You see the front sensor and then the back sensor. So front sensor, back sensor. And then if we go to run this, we can easily see if I can hit that button from here. We can easily see how the logic works. It's very simple. Actually, especially with no speed commands, forward or reverse, no analog. This is, you don't have any one shots or nothing like that. You just basically seal in circuits and then drop in and out based upon the sensor itself that you're being used. Now keep in mind the retroreflective photo eye is an opposite state of the actual diffuse photo eye. So it is used differently in the program. This is why they don't match. Being you can see it right now in the state that the front sensor is on. The front sensor right here is on when it gets made, and then the back sensor is on all the time until it gets made. So you can see those are in different transitions, right? So one is basically on when there's nothing in front of it, and one is off when there's nothing in front of it. So you have to use those in different, basically normally O's and normally open and normally closed contacts in the PLC program to actually see the benefit from that, or to use it properly. To be honest with you, I mean to have the correct representation. And you can see I have my I/O docked up here, so you can see the transitions when they happen. and you can see the logic when it happens. So it's very, very simple logic, not complex whatsoever. But again, just showing you multiple ways to actually control this conveyor and do the said functions right here. And the way I'm moving around with my mouse is very simple. A lot of people actually have trouble with that. I have a scroll mouse, so I can go in and out. And then what I do is I hold it side to side, move my mouse, or I right click to look at the view differently. So again, start, stop. If every time I start it goes back forward, that's the way I have it programmed right now. I know I can do it many different ways, but again, when it comes down to it, this is a very simple conveyor going back and forth, a box just moving from one side to another. Nothing really complex going on here, but does show a simple representation of how to control it, and does show a strict binary focus on forward and reverse using two different photo eyes, two different types of photo eyes, one being normally open, one being normally closed. And again, having the start stop buttons right here makes it very easy to actually understand that. With that said, hopefully you learned a lot from this video, and you watched the prior videos where I did the speed commands and stuff like that. Again, when it comes down to it, there's many different ways to program. But when it comes down to, how do you want to do it? Do you need to do it all in the binary? Do you just have contactors you're controlling? You need to do it this way. If you have an analog speed, like a conveyor, like let's say for instance a drive or a VFD, then you can do the analog speed back and forth. Again, when it comes down to it, real implementations of how you would do this, it really depends on the components being used. It doesn't really reflect. It does reflect on how you program it a little bit, but when it comes down to it, it's all about the components. It's all about how do you want to see it run, and it's all about how do you want it to function. And to be honest, I always say this. It's making sure the program is easy to read from the person behind you. Whoever's going to read this program, this code behind you, make sure it's easy to read for them, and make sure that it is it's not very complex, where they have to dig and dig and dig just to find out a very simple problem, like a photo eye not making, or something like a cable broken, or stop or start push button not working. With that said, hopefully you learned a lot from this video. We'll see you guys on the next one.